2013, Congress immediately voted to punt those cuts forward. What the president did, what other presidential candidates promised to do but never followed through on, is acknowledge a fact that is universally perceived and obvious to anyone with eyes, that Jerusalem is and always will be the capital of Israel. Now, that doesn't prejudge some of the outstanding issues. You know, for instance, which parts of the outlying areas of Jerusalem might be part of Israel, it might be part of a Palestinian state, what the terms of access and times and so forth for the Old City, the holy sites in Jerusalem would be. Those are still up for negotiation. All the president did was simply acknowledge a fact that is universally perceived, and that it gave the fact that he called Jerusalem the capital of Israel, gave people in European capitals the vapors, says a lot more about those European capitals than it does about Jerusalem. But in the meantime, it's been devastating for our military. I mean, it's time to stop living in dream castles in the Middle East and acknowledge basic facts that everyone knows are never going to change. Jerusalem is going to be the capital of Israel. There is no right of return of people who were never even, who 2 or 3 generations on were not born inside the borders of modern Israel. It's not a hindrance to peace negotiations to acknowledge these facts. I would argue that it helps negotiations because it concentrates and narrows the issues on which they need to debate and ultimately reach a peace agreement. To leave these kind of things up in the air while at the same time implicitly delegitimizing Israel, saying it's the one country in the world that can't choose its own capital, is not beneficial for anyone. So the most important thing that we need to do is to eliminate those caps and the automatic spending cuts. So I know the conventional wisdom in Washington is that China wants a denuclearized Korea Peninsula. They've been saying that for 25 years. They've been lying for 25 years. That's what their diplomats do. They lie to Western officials. China benefits from a nuclear North Korea. Why? Because the first question I've been asked in this setting, as is often the case whether I'm speaking to reporters or speaking to Arkansan, is about North Korea. It's not about China and the things they do, like the economic warfare they're committing against the United States, or building islands and militarize them in the South China Sea, or their the practical diplomatic embargo they're trying to wage against Taiwan, or their atrocious treatment of Christians in their country. As long as North Korea is a nuclear country, the time and effort and energy of U.S. policymakers must be focused on North Korea, not on China. I'm working on a compromise that will codify DACA. The military should stop today sending spouses and children to South Korea, and they should gradually draw down the spouses and children who are in South Korea. It's not just a moral issue of putting more Americans in harm's way, but it's a readiness issue. If you've got a private on the DMZ, he should be focused to the north and focus solely on that. He shouldn't be worried about what's going to happen to his young wife and children sitting in Seoul. But the people of Alabama are going to make that decision, just like the people of this country made their decision last year on Donald Trump. Well, we should make that determination based on intelligence decisions. Obviously, the Pyeongchang Olympics have been a major milestone that South Korea has been working towards for many years. There's going to be, I would say, an unprecedented security effort there to ensure that everyone is safe, athletes, spectators alike. But if there are credible threats, we have to take those seriously. I'm not aware of any at this point. Of all the things that I imagine Kim Jong-un knows that would bring an end to his regime faster than anything, I suspect imperiling the Pyeongchang Olympics is pretty close to the top of the list. Withholding as well, because they're going to double the. I mean, we'll follow the facts wherever they take us. If we haven't found any evidence of collusion, I don't think that we can say anything other than there's no evidence of any kind of collusion here. There's lots of evidence of malicious Russian behavior, which is, again, what Russians do. That's just the way Russia's government behaves, whether it's the Soviet version of Russia or the Putinist version. But if we have no evidence of it, I would assume that we'd make that statement, that there's no evidence of any kind of collusion between Russia and any American. That's the core part of the compromise. That's not going to happen on a spending bill.